Hi, my name is Mark Cartwright and I lead the Commercial Vehicle Incident Prevention Team at National Highways. Our approach to safety is simple. We want everyone who works with us and everyone who travels on our network to get home safe and well. We've created this series of Toolbox talks to help van drivers and their supervisors and managers understand their legal obligations and industry best practice. We hope you'll find the nuggets of information in this short video interesting and useful.
Do you know what set of driver's hours rules apply to you when driving a van? There's a common misconception that driving a vehicle at or below 3.5 tonnes gross vehicle weight is not subject to any driver's hours restrictions, but that is not the case. There are two different sets of rules that can apply, and drivers breaking these rules can receive large fines and even custodial sentences. In this short video, we'll help you understand which rules apply to you. But before we move on, there are a few definitions that we need to understand. When we talk about a working day, this means the 24-hour period beginning at the point when your duty starts. But a week is measured on a fixed week, which runs from just past midnight on a Sunday, as we roll into Monday morning, all the way through to midnight the following Sunday. The weight of a vehicle is the gross vehicle weight, GVW, or maximum authorised mass, MAM. They mean the same thing, but it's important to know that this isn't the actual weight of the vehicle or a vehicle plus trailer, it's the legal maximum limit that the fully loaded vehicle can weigh. It includes everything in or on the vehicle, including the vehicle itself, the load, the fuel and the driver. If you're towing, it also includes the weight of the trailer. Having understood that, the starting point for deciding which rules apply is that the EU driver's hours rules apply to all drivers of commercial vehicles unless they're legally exempt. There are a number of these exemptions, the biggest being for any vehicle or vehicle plus trailer below 3.5 tonnes. There are others that may also apply, but you'll need to check the law to see if these apply to you. If vehicles and trailer are exempt, then they will fall under the GB domestic rules. It's very unlikely a driver will be exempt from those unless they're driving an emergency or military vehicle. The term domestic hours means that the rules are national, so you must observe the national rules of the countries in which you're due to travel. The GB domestic rules apply in Great Britain, which is England, Scotland and Wales. There are separate domestic rules that apply in Northern Ireland. The majority of vans are below 3.5 tonnes, but you should still check with your manager or refer to the manufacturer's plate to check. Let's look at where you can find this information for yourself. You should find the manufacturer's plate on the door sills or in the engine bay, depending on the make and model of the vehicle. The gross vehicle weight shown is the maximum weight the vehicle can be on the road. The gross train weight is only relevant when you're towing a trailer. The last two are individual axle weights, but be aware you do not calculate the gross vehicle weight by adding the axle weights together. For our purposes, we'll take a gross weight of 2,940 kilograms to establish that we should operate under domestic rules. On the face of it, domestic rules are straightforward, as there's only two main limits to be aware of: the daily driving limit and the daily duty limit. You mustn't drive for more than 10 hours in a day. You also mustn't be on duty for more than 11 hours in any working day. The limit doesn't apply on any working day when you don't drive. There are two important concessions from the 11-hour duty limit to be aware of. Firstly, if you do not drive for more than 4 hours on each day of the week, you are also exempt from the daily duty limit for the whole week. So if you only drove 3 hours on Monday to Friday, you wouldn't be under the 11-hour duty limit for the whole week. However, it's worth noting that if you drove for 3 hours a day Monday to Thursday, but then drove 5 hours on the Friday, then the daily duty limit of 11 hours would apply to the Friday and all the preceding days of that week. You have to be careful not to create a retrospective offence. Secondly, drivers of vehicles carrying out certain activities are exempt from the 11-hour duty limit, but not the driving limit. Examples would include any service of inspection, cleaning, maintenance, repair, installation or fitting. Driving when tired is responsible for 1 in 5 incidents, so it is essential you have enough rest. Rest is time when you're not on duty, typically when you're at home. Your employer is required under the working time regulations to ensure that you have adequate rest, which includes adequate breaks. A break is an interruption to your working day when you can get food and refreshments. Under domestic rules, written records must be kept of all hours worked, subject to certain exemptions. Where vehicles are used for the carriage of goods that require an operator licence, and where driving exceeds 4 hours in that day, drivers must keep written records of their hours of work on a weekly record sheet. However, where a driver does no more than 4 hours driving in a day and does not drive outside a 50-kilometre radius of the vehicle's operating centre, written records are not required under domestic rules. Best practice is to keep records for all duty and driving time, regardless of whether the rules require it or not. The EU rules apply if the maximum weight of your vehicle or vehicle combination is more than 3.5 tonnes. The main EU rules on driving hours are that you must not drive more than 9 hours in a day, although this can be extended to 10 hours twice a week. You must not drive 56 hours in a single week, or more than 90 hours in any 2 consecutive weeks. EU rules say that you must also record all your driving on a tachograph. You might think the driver's hours are complicated. The trick is to know which rules apply to you, and if there are any exemptions relevant to your job. Always ask your manager for clarity if you're not sure. Many companies will have a system for employees who drive a vehicle to record their duty, rest and driving hours. Check with your manager on the process they require you to follow. Police officers will often stop and question drivers on their starting time and location and piece together their journey in order to establish if any rules have been breached. So, in summary, EU driver's hours rules apply to vehicle combinations that exceed 3.5 tonnes and they require the use of a tachograph. Under domestic rules, you are not to drive for more than 10 hours in a day and not to be on duty for more than 11 hours in any working day. It is best practice to keep written records of all days when you've driven a van. If in doubt, consult with your manager to ensure that you follow your company's processes. This will help to keep you safe and on the right side of the law.
Thanks for watching the video. Remember, driving is often the greatest risk you'll face during your working day, even if you're only driving between jobs. So please drive carefully, please drive safely, and let's get everyone home safe and well.